communications, targeted therapies for cancer. But I explained it better than that. And at the very end, when I was like, all right, so what'd you guys, we rounded them up at the end and said, you know, what'd you guys learn today? And I knew that most of them understood that that cells talk to each other, kind of like shaking hands, because I had them do that thing where they turn to the neighbor and shake hands. And they knew the lock and key because I was going around and saying like, okay, so what's this mean and what's this mean? So I thought that they were going to give me like stuff related to that. And the first comment was that beating cancer isn't as easy as beating Michigan, which I thought was a successful day. But it was really actually a good thing to do when they got frustrated. I'd be like, I know, this is really hard, but you know, that's why beating cancer isn't as easy as beating Michigan. And they seemed to kind of buy into that, like, oh, all right, like, which was kind of fun. So I don't know if we can come up with any like catchphrases for our other things. I know that we shouldn't like downplay certain colleges too much, but
Michigan.
Yeah, they do have a Michigan banner hanging.
Yeah, I noticed.
We have a Michigan fan in our room.
Yeah. But you know, I don't know. I think that coming up with a phrase like that might be really helpful.
I think I do want to encourage you guys about the logo on your shirt. Okay, point that out. Make them think about what's going on, or do the chant with some vigor, and make them do it. All right?
I'm doing the chant all the time.
Are you?
Yeah. Okay, not all the time, but like at the beginning we'll do it a couple times, and like at the end, I will do it.
That's what I was looking for. I think I thought it would be a help. Some groups, I mean, it is about buy-in from you guys too. Don't forget that. So, what were you guys gonna say? Were you laughing about the shirt thing?
I messed up.
Yeah, I messed up.
I totally skipped design, and I was like, all right, guys, like, what's next? And like,
Like I had like the circles pulled up and like when identify, and then what's the next one? And she was like, she was talking about it, like I had to hit the button so it said design.
so like it was.
It's like I'm pointing to like my
it
shirt. She's talking about building things. I'm like kid lifting the front.
Totally forgot about designing. And she's like, and then as soon as it said build, and then like clicked it design. I was like, I mean, obviously you want to design. And I just totally screwed it up, and I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with her? Sorry, that won't happen again.
That's okay.
Yeah, when I messed up, the kids were like, what?
Continue to remind them, like Molly, with what she was talking about with the cancer thing. Oh, I know it's hard, but it's, you know, it isn't that easy like it is to beat Michigan or something like that. Some of the things that we have to remind them is that it's an iterative process. They might, that word maybe not used, but trials. Try it again. Like, do it again. Oh, you got it to work, but can you make it better? That's, you know, sometimes I see us a little bit like falling short where we really give those students another avenue, like push them to be like with Rujay. Tell her, okay, this works, but you're just making it bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, you've got to try and make something that works without having all the material, you know, or different things like that. Anything else on those kind of topics?
One thing that you will never know is how far that kid's going to take that. And someday, I mean, run into that kid who took your supplies home and built this thing because you guys put it at the seed there. So just because you might not be getting the documentation and knowing that they're doing it, you'll never know. It's one of those things you just have to trust that you are.
Yes, and be human. It's good to, when you guys say, don't ever pretend to know everything. Because they will read through that. Or you being like, you know, honestly, I don't know. I'll go find out for you and I'll come back. And I never try and go against kids that I know everything because I don't. Everything.
Are you sure?
I thought I did until I started taking this class.
That's Joe.
I have a quick question for everyone. Are there a lot of girls just like on for everyone's classes, or is it just
We have more guys.
You have a lot of guys.
We have half
There's a
an
lot
hour.
of guys. Very easy guys.
We had all girls, and it was just like first time this week we had one boy.
But he was like, I think he was just like, because she had, I need to
He
have
was
like
just thrown in
3 or 4
there.
kids like left over, and they're like, just go in
Go
there.
this
Okay.
way.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
They got a half and half room. They've got a somewhat mixed, but more girls.
It seemed like the fifth graders got divided up, almost boy, girl, and then kind of what was left over.
Okay.
You're mostly boys and you're mostly girls with a couple scattered in
Yeah, are we noticing some differences between the boys and the girls in the classroom?
Oh, this one girl was just like sharing me very like girly stuff. And this just got really like I high fived her. I don't know if you saw the yeah, lady stuff. And I was just like, this is so awkward.
I feel like I haven't been noticing like that huge a difference. Like there's definitely like there's a couple of guys who are really into it, a couple of girls are really into it, but there's definitely like guys and girls who just like being a little more trouble. But I don't know, it's really cool. It's really cool seeing them think through it, because like especially with ours, the prototype was just really bad. And then they just took it, because it took them a bit to put it together, and I think they were expecting it to be perfect. Like, and then they kind of looked at it, it's just like, huh, like that didn't work. And it was just this like moment of confusion, and then I was like, okay. And they like went and just started tearing it apart, and like, very few of them had like similar designs. They were all doing something different. Which I thought was really cool. And another thing about just like impacting them, when I was walking to get my phone from Paul's car, which happened to be outside the grass, so I'm glad I went back and looked for it. I walked past the bathroom, and one of my students, his name is incredibly difficult for me to pronounce, but it's like Jareem, around there. And then it's very hard to pronounce, but I just heard this little thing, and I turned around and I was just like, oh, hi. And then I just sit and talk to them for a while. And did you know that the thing in the bathroom is the sink?
Yeah.
Yeah, did not know that was the sink. Because I've never used the bathroom here. But
There's an adult men's room around.
I figured.
Okay.
But he had soap all over his hands and was walking up to and just talking to me, and then like the water started coming up. I was just like, whoa. And I'm like, I didn't know this was a sink. He's like, yeah, there's this bar underneath here that you step on. And I was just like, I don't know, it was a really cool moment.
I remember the moment that I had with one of those the first time. With my dad was a teacher at Knox County Career Center, so he worked on telephone poles, and so they had one of those in their room. And I still remember that was like a cool little device. Like, whoa, you step on it here and it sprays out. So I'm glad you had that with yours.
We have one in our classroom. So every quarter you get new kids. So we go through the process of how you come into the room, where you put your stuff, all that stuff. We have them wash their hands every day. Come in and wash your hands, do this. So we tell the sixth graders it's voice activated. And they have to say water on. So one of us is standing there, they'll be like, water on. No, you gotta yell it, it's gotta be loud. And then we'll step on it. So we go through the day. So finally we tell them, right? Okay, don't tell anybody because we're gonna do this in ninth period. So ninth period comes and you have like half the kids from sixth period are like outside the door, like will they figure it out? Or like, don't tell them. It is hilarious. You still have kids like 3 or 4 days later are like, water on! Nothing. We should not pick on kids, but it is.
They're at works.
Right.
My art teacher from elementary school had one in the class, and he knew how long it lasted. For his, he pushed it, and then it would be on for probably like 30 seconds or so. And so he would always do this thing where he would pretend like he had like superpowers, and he would turn it on, like, because we knew that when you pushed it, but he would snap to turn it off. And so he would like be teaching, and he would turn it on and stick his hands underneath it, and then he'll walk away, and then he'll be, I forgot to turn that off, and he'll like snap and he'll turn it off. He'd be like, Mr. Strobar, can you turn this off? And he'd like snap from it. He'd be like, just a second, and he'd like watch, and he'd like snap him across the room. Like the whole year, people would think that that was really
That's awesome.
Funny what connects us sometimes, isn't it? Alright, Jack.
Something I guess surprised me, and maybe I just don't know enough about the age group, but there's not much of a separation between guys and girls. Like they don't cluster as a guys table, girls table, like group of two guys. They mingle a good amount, which I guess is it's nice because I was kind of expecting them to separate themselves maybe, but they don't really anymore.
What age group do you have?
Not really sure. I think we've got kind of a mix.
I think you're 6, 7.
Yeah, I think you're 6, 7,
That's-
something
that's-
around
I knew
there.
we had some sixth grade.
Molly and Josh, I think you separated them for this past Monday.
Yeah.
Did that work out well?
I think it
You mean
was
separate the
really
guys
well.
and girls?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We
Well,
didn't separate guys and girls.
No?
that's how they naturally have been the past few weeks. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
okay.
we just like to sit by each other.
Yeah.
But there was a girl at the boys' table, like the table
Okay.
that had the 3
Yeah.
guys. We just told them to sit at the 2 tables
Yeah.
that were
Oh, okay, great.
separated.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Well, some of the readings that we've read in this class talk about some of the benefits and advantages of doing these design challenges with this age group, especially gender, also ethnicity, background, socioeconomic level, all those different fun things. So I have been thankful to see experientially some of the things that we've been reading about really come true. Are there anything from maybe the readings that you specifically remember or were like, you know, challenged by or thought, hey, yeah, this is true while you were working with your groups? Any of the readings? Yes, Molly?
For me, the competitive factor is that the guys seem to like naturally want to compete with each other, and the girls couldn't care less. And you're able to get the guys to work together. The student that did all 3 tasks was a guy, and when he was done and he attached it with 1 rubber band, there was 5 minutes left, and I could not think of anything else to make him do. I was like, look, make it levitate above, and like, I don't know what else I could have told him to do. So I was like, well, why don't you go and help someone else that's trying to get to task 3, you know?
There you go.
And he was, at first he was kind of like, well, I'm the only one that's done it. And then he went and helped someone, and then they ended up finishing task 3, I believe.
2.
Task 2, okay. So it was, I think that that's something that definitely is true in my classroom.
Joan, you guys especially had some competitive, like you wrote on the
Even
board.
though the girls were good girls, I think Roger really fuels that because she like
Yeah,
looked
it
at
like wasn't the plan, but then they like my plan was to just be like dump the penis in there and like turn it on. And then like the first girl went and she was like they really wanted a metric to measure by, so they counted them out.
Yeah,
Um,
and then like we ended up writing them on the board,
Mhm.
and we didn't write the names next to the numbers. Like I was thinking about that, but I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that because then that'll just like be too like. So we just wrote numbers so that they can just when they look on the board they can visually see like what's what people are getting and get a sense, because they do want to be acknowledged and have recognition for what they did, which is one thing I noticed. So that's like slightly. It can be really positive, but it can easily turn into like an extremely competitive, nature. And like there was this one girl, she only got 2 packing peanuts, and I was like, and it was like the last try, and I felt really bad because like the other girls had gotten like 49, 50.
Wait, do you
And
mean Shania?
I think so. It's
Well, no, because Shania was working with another girl. Sanaya,
Yes.
yeah. She worked with another girl, Jenna, remember? But then the other girl like left,
Oh.
and then so she like did her own thing like the very end, which might have been bad. But yeah, I do remember she was like the last one, and she.
Yeah,
It was a bit
she waited
disappointing.
so long too. Like she was the, oh god, I know. So like, one thing, if you do make it like kind of competitive, you do have to make sure I don't want to say losers, like just the kids that aren't at the top. Like you really like have to like care about them and
I can't remember which group it was, but one of the little girls kind of took me off to the side and was like, I have a suggestion. The person that designs the best design should get candy.
That was probably our class.
I think it
Yeah,
was.
like every week.
They want to get one of those things to get the merits.
Oh, they want merits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were asking about
We
They
don't
were
have
asking me about that.
I feel like that would just add a whole place we don't want to go.
Yeah, and you have to also be able to give demerits.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They have merits and demerits.
Yeah.
Demerits are for poor behavior.
Do you guys have like a kid person in your group too? Does everyone have?
We have
No.
Boys and Girls Club.
You,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys don't. You guys have one of the best. You guys don't have one. You guys have one that just kind of sits off to the side.
Yeah.
Ours is great.
She did some.
Miss Heather. Yeah.
She like was like in there with
Oh,
them.
she's like, she's
Yeah.
with the kids
Her own-
doing it. She's,
I think
you
she
know.
did it all.
My
Yeah.
coworker Luke was
Can I
really
win? Can I win?
Oh, Luke, yeah.
he
Yeah,
was-
some of your guys'
Because
advisors.
he was hanging out and like talking to the kids and like he's a really friendly
Especially those two girls.
personality, so like he just fit in, he fit right in. And it was just like, he's really helpful.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think, okay, Randall has a question.
Yeah, I felt like I almost wasted my advisor's time because I didn't like have anything for him to do. I felt like he just sat there. Is there some way we can?
Okay.
They're gonna come integrate them more or find something for them to do. I felt like he was bored and I wasted an hour and a half of his time.
Well, Howard, you want to
May
talk?
have given him a wonderful mental break from what he has to do the rest of the week, so I don't know, he probably interpreted it for, it might be just fine with it, I don't know. And they are, my understanding is aren't they getting paid? They're getting paid for this. The Boys and Girls Club?
Oh, he's talking about his faculty
Oh,
advisor.
your faculty advisor, oh, I thought you were talking about your Boys and Girls Club person. You know, they're there for an hour and a half, they can suck it up, you know?
I feel like they're
that you have
prepared.
to
I mean,
incorporate
he didn't
them.
complain or didn't seem upset. I just felt bad because I didn't have anything for him to help out with, and it just felt like it was a waste of his time, at least from my perspective.
I think with yours especially, Randall, not to call you out, but I think your first design challenge is a good step, but I hope that we can push that envelope a little bit further to get closer to what his research is, and not just what your summer experience was. Because you worked on the sprinkler system kind of to distribute, and that was really important to what he needed to happen. But his real interest is in like nutrient absorption in roots and soil.
Do any of that stuff though. All I did was build for the summer.
Well, it's partly you know about it, and we're just kind of like giving examples. Like, did you actually use DNA origami?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shut down. I can say no if you want me to.
Molly's research isn't a good example because like that's like a really important part. Like there wasn't a lot of grunt work I feel like with yours. It was like full on like
But part of it
full,
is,
like, structures.
I understand that, but I you know, with what Randall was saying, I understand it. I just want to see if we can continue to get from your experience to the greater impact. Okay, so that might be more, you know, interesting and exciting for those researchers when they go.
But keep in mind, this is so outside the box for any of your advisors. Just the fact they're going into this school and they're seeing this happen, I mean, this is way out there. So, okay, so maybe it wasn't riveting engagement for them for the hour and a half. But I did talk with Gosh, is that your, anyway, I talked with him afterwards, and we talked about, and he was talking about writing this into grant proposals, and so he may not have been entertained, but I think he sees the value in it.
I think he did too. I just felt like him sitting there for an hour and a half without anything to do. I feel like he had better.
If any of you, I mean, I can always email your advisors, which is what I've been doing. It's much more effective if you do that and ask that they be there. So all of them supposedly are going to be coming, but you know what happens in faculty land with deadlines and things like that. And sometimes things fall by the wayside. So what I'm going to ask you to do is please put out an email. And it's either your advisor or a grad student or a postdoc, whoever worked most with you. I'd like the faculty member to be there, but if it's someone else from the lab, that's a good thing too. Just put a quick email out if you would to remind them.
And they
If
can
your-
work
if yours
with,
is this next Monday.
they can work with your students as much as you want. You can just kind of lead them and instruct them. Tell them, hey, we're doing this. This is the design process that we're doing for this class. Just kind of encourage them to go along this path. Okay, we have limited amount of time. We might be able to talk about a couple more things, but I want a reality check. For this class, we got a lot of prep time to get ready for Design Challenges 1 And maybe even Design Challenge 2. And Design Challenge 1, honestly, was kind of a flurry of activity at the last minute, and it worked. Which I had meetings all day Friday long, which was great. It was fun. People came back 3 times, maybe 4.
4 times I came back.
Okay. And Roland even took suggestions, and he was going to go off and make this Arduino setup work, and then I come back Monday, and oh yeah, that didn't quite work, so I had to go with this idea. So.
That one's still gonna work though, it's happening.
Okay. All right. All right. We need to make sure that we're ready for Design Challenges 3 and 4. You kind of have a little bit more of a buffer, just a little bit left with this upcoming week. Somewhat, some of us don't. Okay, in terms of what we're going to be doing on this upcoming Monday. Since you are trading off, everyone's
Well,
at least.
not everybody is.
No, everyone's trading off.
He has 2 in a row. Jack has 2 in a
Yes,
row.
in a row.
So everyone's trading off. I saw it on the schedule. But what happens is that some people will trade back the following week, and some people won't. So sometime, from what I saw from the schedule.
There are some that are doing it back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
Jack has 2.
But it would only be 2 and 3.
No, no.
What you're saying.
So what I'm saying is we got 4 weeks, right?
Oh, it's not 1 and 2.
1 and 2, you have a switch. But for 2 and 3, some of you guys are going to do back-to-back, and some of you are going to do 2 and 4. Okay? What do you think you need to do in order to get ready? What were some of the lessons learned about when you think about design projects? What do you need to make sure is in that design project in order for it to be successful?
A ramp.
He's got a spare one, so.
I actually might be breaking it down for mine.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Different things. Do we understand the gravity of what we're being asked to do? It's not an easy task. To make an educational experience that teaches the open-ended design process where you represent OSU research for middle school age-appropriate audience. The list goes on. Using cheap materials, which you're probably running low on.
And it's engaging, and it's open-ended, and the whole list of things that you do.
So I wanna challenge you guys. I'm gonna have these Fridays open where you can come in and talk, but a lot of prep work has to be done ahead of time. Work with your teammates. Talk things out. These Wednesdays, you can bring in, so we have a couple more Wednesdays left. We can either do some presentations, or we can also do something where you bring in your materials and everybody gets a shot at figuring out the loopholes that you haven't thought of yet. So we need to help each other. It's not easy to do. If you go off and ride into the sunset, I don't think it's going to be glorious, okay? What I'm trying to encourage you guys is that we've taken a lot of time to try and get you guys ready. And now it is a little bit more on the self-study side of things. But I want us to encourage you to just use the resources available. I have limited time available. I want to make it as much available for you as possible. But Fridays filled up this past time, and I don't know if everybody doesn't have their design project done, I can try and get you to a point as best as I can, but there's only so much time I have, right? So I'm just encouraging you guys, we've done a lot of work, but we need to do some more. And it's gonna be that frustrating work where maybe, again, I'm gonna challenge you guys to use your documentation skills, draw it out, sketch, brainstorm, keep on working on the communication. Like, they're gonna do this, the balls are gonna go in here, and they're gonna have a gate here, and they're gonna like put a slot in here. You know, if you can communicate that to somebody else, then we can get a lot closer. Also, if you need time building things, we have more time available with Paul Post with his office in Ramsier, or I have Smith Lab options available, different things like that. Okay?
Test it, test it, test it. Literally, be the student multiple times. Don't bring in a testing apparatus that you've never tested into the class. I mean, you should go through this multiple times and make tweaks to make sure it's exactly what you need. I think you have a good idea of what the kids can do as far as dexterity and all of that now, so.
Ben, I mean, how much did you work on that over the weekend? You had like a cup perfectly calibrated. Like,
That was like, honestly, like, Saturday and Sunday night. Like, cause like Saturday, I did an event for Habit's house. I was literally in South Oakland for like 4 hours. And then I had to go home, and then I could go back Sunday, and like that's like all I did.
But in order to get the exact amount of airflow, we had to like cut out parts of that big, you know, trophy case that I had, and we cut it out, and it wasn't still quite right. So he had to like cut the slit in this styrofoam cup that he put on the side, and it propped it open like 15 degrees or something like that.
It makes a huge.
It makes a huge difference. It was so silly, but you never would have found that without doing a lot of testing.
I almost took it off, carried it.
Yeah.
I was like, what's this doing?
That's a highly calibrated engineering tool. Okay.
We had one of our students at the end when we kind of like wrapped up, we were talking about it. We were just like, you know, what was so bad with the prototype? Why didn't it work? And I had said something like, yeah, like I had that same problem when I was building it too. And one of the girls was like, you built this too? Like, do you have to build this before you come in? I was like, yeah, that's our job. Like, we come up with it. She's like, oh, that's cool. So they were like kind of impressed with how like, I don't know if I'm going with this, but.
You don't have the answers, you're seeking them like they are.
Yeah.
That's great. That's what we want to communicate to the kids. Okay. Documentation, I'm still not completely sold on which direction to go. I think when I hear things like Grant, like, I don't understand what you're saying. Can you like draw this and make like arrows pointing? Maybe just like bring in a stack of computer paper and just have them like draw. Instead of having the worksheet that freaks them out, just bring in computer paper and have them like draw out what they're talking about. Like, wait, I don't understand what you're saying. Can you draw this for me? Can you make me a picture? You know, and I think that that would be valuable. Also, any kind of documentation, I think it would be nice, I don't know why we didn't do this from the beginning, but it would be nice to kind of collect that and see what we have in terms of documentation coming out of those classes. Okay, so I encourage you to consider it. I really would like to see some form of documentation, but you can put your own flavor on it. I'm just saying that I haven't been convinced that documentation is not helpful to their learning. Okay. Anything else we want to talk about? Yes, Natalie.
Can we use the whiteboards in the room? And can we give the students freedom to use whiteboards in the room?
We want to be careful with that because like
Smart
towards
board.
the end they started to like go all out.
They were
They're
cleaning it
just,
off, and they were like.
They were just like they were getting really
it,
distracted.
like,
Okay.
So just
But
like
as long as you like, I think as long as you like stay in like here, they were fine.
It's tough because we have smart boards, and those are definitely not marker safe. So.
Well, in your room too, the projector was aimed up on the whiteboard, which is really reflective, and it made it really hard to see. And I don't know why it was that way, but we.
That's the way they got it.
Our room for the paper challenge was like that was good because like we were like.
You drew on the actual
could draw,
marker
like,
board.
on the projection.
Yep, I saw that.
So I don't know if we make that like. part of the
Identify,
slideshow.
build, design.
If you want, listen, we just get a portable screen, it's not a big deal. They set up in 30 seconds, just.
We can joke on that stuff. Okay, any other questions, concerns? Yes, Elsa?
This has nothing to do with teching, but I lost my keys on Monday.
It does have some. Anybody
So
see
I
them?
know I had them when I went to KIP, but then after that, I lost them sometime between being at KIP, going to work, and coming home around 8. So if you've seen any pairs of keys, you could look in your boxes. I don't know how they would get in there, but if you could check your stuff, just in case, that would be really great. It's just got like a green clip, one of the keychains, like a guy on a bicycle, sprint on the back.
Great. Yes?
Not related to Elsa.
I was getting really excited there.
Just something, maybe ask your advisor about this. For EE, this class counts towards Tech Elect. So,
wait, electrical.
Oh,
yeah, electrical
Who's
engineering.
the person that you? That's right. Roland got.
How did you pull that off?
Roland?
Well-
Petition. Go ahead and talk.
Yeah, so I petitioned because I have been taking 18 credit hours because I need all of those to graduate, and I need this to count as a technical elective for me to be able to graduate or take the class. So I was a little persuasive when I talked to my.
So wait, so what, tell me this is important.
What documentation
So-
did you supply them with?
So I communicate, well, none, because there wasn't any at the time. So I told them the reason this class was important was